Welcome to this episode of Stage the Game. As always, we have myself, Tony, and Jesse.
What
Morgan
up?
will join us eventually, hopefully. I don't know.
Who can say? Her show ends this weekend is the last weekend of her show, so maybe after that.
The fact that you get three of us is lucky enough, so.
But seriously, oh my God. We're up like at noon o'clock for you guys. Let me just say, dedication.
But we have to do a short episode. Well, probably not going to be any longer than most of our normal episodes, but we have to speed through it because my opening night for my show is tonight, and we have rehearsal before the show, so I need to get going.
Break
So
all
it's
the
only going to be
legs.
about 20 minutes. But we're going to stick to one topic, mainly because it focuses on both video games and theater. And that is the topic of live streaming. Live streaming has been very popular in the video game community with websites like Twitch and Mixer and stuff like that allow gamers to stream themselves playing to the masses online. And it's been used by artists as well. Twitch has its own section of crafts, like arts and crafts, like where people like either like they're sewing, they're painting, they're crafting, and stuff that's not just video games. And so artists have been utilizing it. But one thing I wanted to discuss with the group is, can live streaming be used? Do you think it will be used in theater? To what extent? And basically, we're just going to go on that.
Ayo. Yeah, well, after you, Tony.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. I definitely think it'll get there. I know Twitch, as an example, they're doing it with some television now too. They just a couple weeks ago did the entirety of Mr. Rogers, just from the beginning of Mr. Rogers, and just streamed it until they ran out of episodes.
Hell yeah.
Which was really wholesome too. I thought that was so nice. Just you can turn on Twitch. Oh, Mr. Rogers is here. Anyway.
He's like the most wholesome person alive in the whole world. Did you hear that somebody stole his car and then they... Alive. Oh my God, shut up. He's alive in our hearts. Did you hear that somebody stole his car and they found out it was Mr. Rogers' car and they just gave it back and they were like, so sorry. Shit,
is Mr. Rogers' car? Shit, I'm going to hell now.
I'm the worst person ever.
I mean, like, really though.
But yeah, there's a lot of like pros and cons, like a lot of different arguments to it, but I want to see what Jesse thinks.
Jesse thinks? Well, it makes me think about like how we kind of sometimes do it. Do you guys have like monitors in your theater where like somebody steps out, they could watch it live stream to like the lobby in the hallway?
We don't do that in our theater. We have a small theater, but I'm sure bigger theaters.
I've seen it happen.
Yeah. So it's like it definitely can be done. And it's just that question of like, should it? Because even with like we're just recording plays, I'm always torn because on the one hand, I think you always should, and like I want to see them, and I really should go to the Lincoln Center Library and like check out all the secret tapes they have that you can only watch one in your lifetime. But you're also like undoing part of what theater is, and like the magic of theater is being there and like watching it in front of you, and it doesn't always like super translate to film in a certain sort of way. Like you're losing something when you do it, but you're gaining accessibility, which is also very important because theater is like so fleeting. It's over in a second and you have to be in one location to get to see it, which is why I'm very excited when they do like those movie theater things and you can see like
National Theater Live and stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah. And I always see that and it's super fun and I love it because yes, would I love to see whatever is playing live? Yes, but sometimes you can't. And at least now you're getting like a slice of that, which streaming would definitely do. But I don't know if it would be as potent as being in the room, you know, like feeling the energy of live humans going through something in front of you.
Right. So it's like it's definitely a great thing, the accessibility behind it, and but it also kind of enables the lazy as well. And it's like I don't want to leave my house, but I'll still see your show, but I'm gonna sit on my ass at
living
home.
room.
Yeah, and that's it. Could be bad things like that, but also some of the pushback I can see artistically as well. It's like we're theater, we are in person. That's the whole point. but I can see it similar to like an argument against using projections. This is about being, or it's why should we use this tech when these people are here? Use the actors, not necessarily the technology, which is not a great argument, but I can see it happening. So,
and technically this is being done in some form. Not I wouldn't call it streaming, but there are the live TV broadcasts of musicals and such that have been happening. Rent just got announced.
Yeah,
oh my god, what?
Rent is soon, yeah.
And
it's so
I have
interesting
not
because I
watched
feel like-
any of them, mainly because
Really?
I hate the concept of them.
Oh,
I
it's
didn't-
so
sports.
interesting. Sports. But
Sorry.
I watch them all the time because, like, I must, because theater. But they're so interesting because, like, what they really are, to me, is, like, it's not theater and it's not a film. Like, it's its own genre, almost. And there
TV
are so many
musicals kind of
problems
thing.
with it. Yeah. But it's, like, it's so in between because, like, they'll get fucked in the way that's fun about live theater. Or something will make no sense. Like, when they did Hairspray, and, like, they're like, time to go to school, and they run outside, but it's nighttime. And you're like, what's going on? Could you like light this part? It's supposed to be like the school. Do you start school at 8 o'clock at night? But it's like its own thing. I think it's really fun because you're like doing all this prep work and setting up a giant studio lot so that you can run through this thing one time and just catch what it is. But for me, it's not theater and it's not a movie. It's in between. I think it's great, actually. I like them a lot. I think they're fun to watch as an event. And it doesn't undermine theater because for me, it's not theater. And it's not a film either. It's like something else new.
Kind of something along the lines of like a Lifetime movie sort of thing, a made for TV movie kind of thing. But
it's its own genre. Yeah, and like you can't do it a lot because who has the resources to do something like that?
Just to throw the money away. Yeah,
exactly. It's got that element of spectacle that's sometimes fun and yeah.
I'm happy that Rent is going to be one of them, though.
Yeah, I'm happy they're doing like because they started off with musicals like Sound of Music and blah blah, movies that people know that like, oh, these are like family musicals, and they've never seen the live production, but they've seen the movie with Julie Andrews, which is fine. It's a great movie, but they don't think of that as theater. They think of it as, oh, this is just a live version of that movie.
Or like
they've seen
about
Rent
music.
too. Rent has a movie now too.
Rent is very popular, yeah. But at least it's about something. I mean, in the same way, Hairspray was not perfect, but I felt like it was about something
more so than
And even Rent, I think, is still more a theater. Even though there is a movie, it's still more revered in the theater community than it is in the general public.
Well, let's see.
The play is different than the movie.
Yeah, I was
too.
gonna say
very different.
Let's see which version they're going to do. Are they going to do the movie, or
they're
are they
probably going to do the movie? Because the stage musical is a lot longer.
It's a lot longer and a lot darker.
Yes.
It's like more about
the
homelessness.
best of ways. Yeah,
it's cool. It'll be interesting to see. You never know, because Hairspray did which also has a movie. They did the play version though, which I had never really seen. Maybe I saw it once at Brandeis, but it's very different.
It's not as I wouldn't say like.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But still, it is different. Yeah,
but it's just interesting that they chose to do the play version and not the movie version.
Jesse, as someone who has put on theater before on a budget, you have to understand. Like, you probably of all people know that, like, in terms of live streaming, would save a lot of money in terms of like location costs and like renting spaces and stuff.
Oh, like, because you do it once and then you could stream it out and it would reach more people.
Like you're doing it at like you could like find, you don't have to like rent a space necessarily. You could like find, well, you technically need a space, but like it doesn't necessarily need to be performance space. You just need like a big space, which would probably be
like a big easier. Open field. But that's true for theater anyway. Like you can make it happen wherever you believe hard enough to make it happen. It's an interesting question too, because then people wouldn't like, would they pay to stream it live if you're looking at like making money back? Because then maybe it would be useful.
They'd probably, I guess you could probably have like how it would work. I'm not sure how it would work. I'm not a technologically advanced person. You'd probably have to like buy tickets in advance, send out like a password to said something or whatever, and blah blah.
And maybe it would cost less than a ticket, but like
or something. Sort of... And a lot of, especially with gaming streams, a lot of their income, a lot of these people do it for a living, which is so cool. I think that's such a neat thing. But it's all ads. It's the same as any.
Ads and
It's
donations.
all ad space, ads and
I don't know.
donations. Yeah, which is cool. But
I've never donated to a stream because I'm like,
yeah,
as much as I
money.
love
Because
that
we
you
work
guys,
in
watching
theater.
you guys, I'm not paying you to play video games because
Exactly. But a lot of it is advertising. They'll have even like as high up as Sony and Microsoft will sponsor them, and these streamers get to go to like these big reveals. Like Destiny 2 had this. Bungie did a big thing with Destiny 2, and they invited pretty much every streamer just to come do this and then go talk about it. And it's free. It's advertising for them. It's advertising for the streamer. It's all very, very cyclical, but. That's a lot of where the money farms. I'm sure there's something in there with theater as well.
Yeah, I mean, and that's super interesting to think about too, because if you're starting to use ads or other revenue generating sorts of things like that, it could really help theaters then to live stream. Like maybe that's a new form of income because it's always hard to.
Well, there are plenty of ads in the playbills. That's what playbills are for. It's like, oh, it's to announce people in these 2 pages, and then the rest of it is all ads. That's
yeah. Oh my god, they're like insane. Broadway playbills are so funny, but it's like a different sort of ad, like a whole new because you're doing that too. So it could be like additional revenue, unless you're really losing ticket sales because people are sitting at home streaming instead of coming in to watch it.
And that's
Speaking of which, if anyone wants to sponsor this podcast,
we're all for it. Please.
Yes, please. We'll put your face in the top right corner.
And I kind of like that we're all talking about this as an inevitability. This is probably something that's going to happen sometime, probably soon. Like you can even think about it. People in rehearsals for like tours or new Broadway shows, they'll do a Facebook Live event and stream, I guess, for lack of a better term, they'll stream some of the rehearsals or like the beginning of tech rehearsal or the or something. It's definitely there. And
I know that some people have been in terms for actors to use if someone really wants them to audition for something and they can't make it because they're on a contract or something that's halfway across the country, sometimes they'll do a Skype audition.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
which is absolutely
because we have the technology now. So normally you'd have to like send in a video copy, but now you can still audition live technically.
Yes, and I've seen so many Skype auditions or even video auditions, and it's so interesting because I think that's the problem right there that I'm having with everything, which is like on the one hand it's so convenient and like you're seeing somebody you could never see because they're so far away, like they would have missed their chance and now they're not. But also like most of the video auditions I've seen suck because they're video, because like they're not acting for me, like
it definitely
responding.
Like hinders the audition.
Right, it's a real disadvantage, I think. I've almost never cast anybody from a video audition, not because I don't like them, but because one, it's like scary, like you don't know. I'm not sure who you are. I haven't met you, and two, just because you lose that energy, I guess, that I'm looking for. I have no sense of with the screen in between us what they're going through. And Skype is better. Skype is definitely better because there's some sort of like give and take, but it's still worse than actually being in the room.
It's more. You can do that. You can
exactly
acting wise. You can characterize. You can,
and you're like responding to me, like we're in dialogue.
Yeah, exactly.
Right now.
And I know Bridget said this the other day when we were talking with her. She was working in Oregon and she was interviewing for a job in Maine, and they were like, "We want you to come in for this interview," and she's like, "I literally can't because I'm in the middle of nowhere in Oregon. I can't fly to Maine, fly back on this contract." And so they Skyped her in, and she said that, and this has nothing to do with theater, but she's like, that probably was why I didn't get the job, is because I didn't go in, because they preferred an in-person interview. But
which is kind of like almost why we do theater, because there's nothing like having a real person in front of you. And however sophisticated film gets, or however easy it becomes to stream things, it's like never quite the same as when like you're performing in front of me right now.
Even this, Owen can attest, I'm a very different person in person than I am over Skype. Jesse, you wouldn't know, but
one day we'll have to meet Tony in real life.
We do. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I'll be in New York in
together
October
over Skype. I'm sure being drunk together in person would have been a whole different experience.
Oh, other bear.
One day we'll film that episode.
God. No, but yeah, it's definitely. I definitely would like to think of it as an inevitability, in at least some regard.
Sure.
They're gonna try it because they're already taking the steps. The National Theater Live, like I said, the Facebook stuff. It's all it's all getting there, and
Sure.
it's just not all out yet.
Hmm.
Something I'd like to see, and I think it would be interesting to see. I'd love to see like live streaming of like readings of new work and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yes,
So
that'd be so
that
cool.
happened. My friend wrote a play, and they would do when I worked at the Purple Rose, they would do they do readings of new work at the local library, or like classic works at the local library every month. It was a partnership with the library. It was this thing, and my friend who I was an apprentice with for a brief time. She wasn't in my class, but we overlapped for a little bit. She wrote a piece that I think is going to be done there next year. I'm not sure.
Cool.
And they did it at the library, and then they actually live streamed it. And I was so happy that I got to see the live stream of her
Hmm.
work. And
Yeah, yeah,
I'd
yeah.
love to see that, like live streaming of like new work, so that
That's a great
you get
idea.
you get a lot of feedback from a lot of people, because
Which is
especially
so what
readings
you
are
need.
supposed to be
Yeah.
like more small and intimate kind of things because they're not as popular. But if you want massive feedback, live stream that
Good
shit.
way to do it. The
Hmm.
only
Hmm.
issue I have with that is possibly copyright stuff.
Yeah, well, obviously
Just
you'd
just
have to
thinking
get
about that.
permission from.
Well, not just that. It's just it's like, hey, here's this brand new thing that is in its entirety that you can now steal from. So it's just a thought. It's some security things
Mhm.
there, but I do like it. I think new works. I'm always for new works. I think, uh, but yeah, that's my only concern with that. My only little caveat there. So
I'd be like, I think I'd be really excited though if somebody stole my play and like it went
I'm
somewhere.
flattered.
I'd be like, you know better than me how to get plays out there. At least people are watching it. And then later you could take the streaming to court and you'd get like free publicity and everyone would be like, oh, this is such a thing. And
Oh
then they
no.
see your play.
Yeah, record the live streams. Let's always make a recording.
Yes. Or like copyright it before you live stream
Sure.
it.
Mhm.
Because copyrighting things is so easy.
Really?
Highly recommend. You're just like, you send an email and it's like,
Yeah.
cool, you did it. Like upload your script.
Say Jessie
And then
has
you
original
yeah,
work that she's written, so
yeah, and it's all copyrighted because it's really, really easy to do.
yeah, copyright it
It's like
before the reading, then read it. And
there you go.
then you're like I stole it, but then you actually broke my copyright, so fuck you.
Because I guess I thought that like you'd have to get approved, like you'd submit your script and somebody would like check it and be like, "This has never been written before, copyrighted." But what it really is, it's like you're uploading it so that one day, if somebody steals it, you could be like, "No, I copyrighted on like it on this day," and pull up that file and be
Mhm.
like, "Here it is."
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like it's not
So
nobody
it's
is
all about who
checking
copyrighted
shit.
it first.
Exactly. Who can prove that they copyrighted it first? Because you've got this record. To my understanding, it's interesting shit.
Oh, okay.
Also, if we're worrying about copyright, live stream Shakespeare readings. It's free. Do that
Hey,
shit
Shakespeare. We're back to Shakespeare.
we're back to
because it's
Shakespeare.
free. It's in the public domain.
There's
Telling
more
you.
than there's more in public domain than Shakespeare, though.
Yeah, but it's just
So
Shakespeare's just
that's Shakespeare.
when you
Yeah.
think of like theater in the public domain, Shakespeare.
Shakespeare.
You
go
start
to
with Shakespeare and you move outwards. Def.
Uh, yeah, that's about all I have to say about it. Yes. I know Owen and I do attempt to stream from time to time
Yeah.
with the games we're playing. I might this afternoon. I haven't decided yet, but it had to be done like 4. But yeah, I don't know yet.
Right on.
So it's fun.
And the thing about streamer, like popular streamers, I know like some streamers are popular because they have like they're famous elsewhere and they just stream on the side because they like to play video games. Like, hey, I'm famous, I can do this on the side as well, and they get a lot of
Right on.
viewers. But the best streamers are people who have a good rapport with their audience,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's like a thing about theater as well, as you're playing off the audience.
Right.
Live streaming have to
Absolutely.
do the same thing. If you don't have a good relationship with your audience, the audience isn't going to want to
I'm
watch.
gonna watch you anymore.
Absolutely true. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting stuff. And I was, when we started this, I had to ask, like, if we were talking about streaming theater out or, like, of using live streaming as a technical element, because I worked on a show that did that once at Totalitarians at Capitol Stage. They, like, there's a scene where they're, like, filming a video, the characters, and what we did in our production was like the camera was real and it was corded to a projector, and so he was filming himself in front of you on stage, and it was live projected behind him onto the screen, so you could see it big like from his face's perspective, and then small like live from his body. It was really funny. Also, like technically
Very cool.
challenging. One of
can
my
imagine.
jobs was like because I was on crew, I was like coiling the cable after he was done to make sure it all came back right and didn't get screwed up. But
That's
yeah,
really cool. That's a neat idea. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I thought it was really neat. Maybe like a better idea than executed, but I thought it was cool every time it worked. And it's neat that technology is taking us to this place where we can be more creative with things like video and live playback, because it is so easy. I mean, Facebook Live, that's pretty new, but now anybody can stream at any time. Not that I would, but
and like you see a lot of more technology being used in theaters. I mean, I don't know the exact context of it, but the Daniel Radcliffe play at the Public, I can't remember what the context was about that, but I know that was like they used a lot of technology in that, where I think they had like people set up like profiles or something before the show, and then they'd play off of them in the show or something like that. I'd have to ask my friend who worked on the show.
Somebody was just talking about that. Yeah, like there was a production of that show that Sarah Jessica Parker was in with the dog, where she plays a dog.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the things they did is they had the audience at intermission like send like text to a number, pictures of them with their dogs, and then they'd project them on the screen like at the end of the play to I guess lighten what was a sad ending. Yeah, and it's like, oh, these dogs are like the people around me. They belong to them. Like it's in that way that you can enhance the togetherness with technology instead of feeling like it brings us further apart. Can also bring us closer together.
Yeah, technology would not allow us to do this podcast because we're
True.
all in 3 separate states.
Well, Owen and I are in the
technically
same state. But just you're upstate and I'm in the city, and so we might as well be in two
Pretty
separate
much.
states. For real. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
If anyone ever listens to this podcast, we keep asking this. Let us know what you think. We'd love to hear your response and your thoughts on this topic. Would you like to see us live stream some shit?
Would you like to see us live stream a Shakespeare play where between the three of us, we play all the roles? I hope
that'd be a
not. That
disaster.
sounds really hard.
That would have to be on book. We might be able to do that on book. But...
Oh, yeah, on book, definitely.
Oh my god, we're not. Yeah, fucking on book.
But
Good.
thank you guys for watching.
Yes.
And we'll be back next week.
Hey.
Goodbye.